As we continue to celebrate first responders here at WCIA during the month of April, we're heading back to the Urbana Fire Department.
That's right. And last week we explored what life was like for firefighters on a day-to-day basis. Today we're going to get a bit more perspective with how they deal with some of the dangers that come with the job. I got to get a generational perspective on how things have changed for the better over the years. Take a look.
When it comes to dangerous jobs, fighting fires is at the top of the list. The men and women in the fire service are putting their lives on the line every single day. One of the greatest risks is exposure to toxic chemicals. Retired Fire Chief Mike Dilley and his son, Lieutenant Craig Dilley with the Urbana Fire Department, shed some light on this issue and other safety concerns from a generational perspective.
There are, how could I say, challenges to these guys today because all the things that burn in this environment put off carcinogenic smoke. They got to be very careful about their gear, about their breathing, and not breathe this stuff in because it will kill you. It will cancerous, and firefighters are dying in this country by cancer in numbers. You can look at a plaque over on the wall there to a guy who died from here, who died of cancer, and he got it on the job.
Over the years, we have become more aware of the long-term effects from smoke and other carcinogenic materials. In one generation, standards and protocols have shifted dramatically based on scientific advancement and new technologies.
There's the old adage is, you know, he was a smoke eater. He could take in a lot of smoke and still go fight the fire and he didn't have to worry about it. Well, that wasn't good because that smoke will kill you. And so they have to be thinking about that today that we didn't think about before. And there's a lot of guys that I was in this business with, they're no longer with us because they took in that smoke and didn't make it. So that's a whole nother part of this job that has to be thought about.
How do you deal with that, Craig?
Well, I think I came to the fire service at a different time than he did, right? Like, you don't know what you don't know. Back then, they didn't know that stuff. We are so fortunate to have the Fire Service Institute and the research that comes out of there that we know now, like, hey, don't be in fire without your SCBA on. Even when the fire is over, let's monitor the air levels because even though we may not see smoke, there still might be stuff in that environment that's not good for us. So when a fire's over, it can look completely clear. We're still monitoring the air to make sure it's safe to be without our breathing apparatuses on. We know now that just wiping down your head and your neck and your extremities when you get out of a fire will remove a lot of the contaminants. We also know, hey, as soon as you get back to the station, take a shower, right? Like, clean that stuff off your body. Don't let it sit there all night, you know, and then the next day. Our gear, right? Like, recent research is, hey, that gear actually hangs on to that stuff. And even though it may be 6 months removed from a fire, you're still absorbing some of that. Get your gear washed. You know, the city of Urbana has provided us with a spare set of gear. Every time we have a fire, we now have a spare set of dry gear we can get into so we can go wash our gear that was just used in a fire. So
that's one of the big differences.
Yeah.
And the things that people may not think about is, you know, he has 3 grandkids, or 3 kids that are my grandkids. You can take that stuff home to your family it's on your actual clothing.
Yeah.
And in my day, we came home after being at a fire. We didn't even think about it. We sat around in our clothes that we had on the fire. We took our bunker gear into the dormitories because we could put it on quickly and be out the door. They don't do that anymore because there's stuff on that.
As they're building the 2 new stations for us, some of the cool things that they're doing is making a clean area, right? Like, we have our apparatus bay, we have our gear washers out there, like, but once you step in through these sets of doors, hey, this is a clean area. We don't wear our gear in here. We clean off before we go in there and to spread or to help limit the spread of that.
The other thing is diesel fumes. I worked out here where the walls on this apparatus floor were black from diesel fumes. We didn't have any way to get out of the building, and we would walk through that. Now they have extraction. They've learned about that, and so there's been a lot of advancements in the fire service to make their lives much healthier.
In addition to awareness and equipment, training plays a crucial role in the safety and protection of a firefighter on the job. Facilities like the Illinois Fire Service Institute provide a crucial resource for firefighters across the country, as well as locally here in Urbana.
Back when I started on the job, at the job, we didn't have a lot of live training because you have to have a building to burn in. But then the Fire Service Institute started developing more and more of that live training, and they allow Champaign and Urbana Fire Departments. What a great opportunity for these two departments to go out there and burn as they can, because you can sit behind a computer all day long and look at target solutions or whatever you want to look at, and that's all well and good. I'm not criticizing that, but getting into a live fire, learning your job, so when at 2 o'clock in the morning the tones go off and you're going down the road and there's black smoke blowing out of the front of that house, you're prepared to go in there. You have muscle memory. You know exactly what you're going to do, because you can't wait till that time comes to get ready. And that's what this live training does, that these guys do so well. And I think one of the biggest differences today, Ryan, is these guys dedicate 3 days a week, 1, 2, and 3 shifts to do this fire training every week. So they're ready when the time comes.
Knowledge is power. It's incredible to see how a better understanding of the inherent dangers on the job has led to the advances in technology and safety protocols that have made firefighting so much safer. I want to thank the Urbana Fire Department for letting us spend time with them, and I also want to point out that the training footage you saw is from live exercises performed at the Illinois Fire Service Institute here in Champaign.
Such an incredible resource, and if you want more on this story, or if you're interested in volunteering or a career in firefighting, you can find more information on our website, CILiving.tv.